Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm going to be walking you through the Light Up Backpack Keychain program. It was a take and make program for teens, and right now let's go over what you received in your orange bag. You got this sheet of paper that lists everything that is in your bag, what you may or may not need that we didn't supply, scissors as well, the clear nail polish, which you don't need. If you don't have it, that's fine. And then there's no switch feature. So another thing you received in your bag is written instructions. These written instructions. However, these written instructions include a switch feature here. So we don't have that in this bag, so that part you would ignore, but everything else remains the same. Okay, so then again, we have these written instructions that you received, which we'll use today to go through the bag. You will need to supply your own scissors. You also got the template for the star shape. You will also need to supply your own Sharpie marker, anything, because we're going to be outlining this on the felt. So whatever you need to outline that, you'll need to supply. And then we also included some conductive tape for testing out our circuits. We have embroidery thread, regular thread, and then you received 2 little envelopes. We'll start with this one. It says sharp, needle inside, so it stands to reason that the sewing needle will be inside. It should be wrapped up in a piece of felt. Just be careful when getting it out. And so we have our needle for sewing. And then in this envelope, we have some other goodies. We have the battery, our keychain ring, the LED light, the battery holder. This is a separate LED light that if you have leftover thread or something like that and you want to make something else that you can use. So this isn't actually part of this project. This is for your own if you wanted to make something else in the future. So we could put that to the side for now. We have a threader, the conductive thread. Yeah, and then you have your 2 pieces of felt. We tried to make them coordinating colors, although they are assorted colors, so not every bag had the same colors. If you have other felt at home that you wanted to use, by all means, whatever you like. But this is what came in your bag. So before we get started sewing, let's make sure that our LED works, that our circuits work. So we're gonna be using the conductive tape for that. You'll notice in the directions, they actually put it on a Lego board. So if you happen to have Legos at home, these will snap into that, which is kind of cool. So let's put our battery in our battery holder. And now you'll see on the back that the tan orange side is the positive side. So we're going to be doing the black on this part. It's hard to see. There you go. So the black and the white. So the black here is going to go to the orange there. And then the white here is going to go to the white bit there. Okay. So here, so we're going to take our tape. We're going to make a line this way, a line down, and a line over, and then a line this way and down. So we're still going to follow the outline. We're just going to, again, kind of ignore this switch. So we're just going to go black to orange and then white to white. Okay, so we did it. So you can see we went black down to the orange, the white down to the whites. None of those are touching. That's important. Make sure these don't touch anywhere. We have to keep them separate so it's a circuit doesn't get crossed over. And then you might have to push down on the battery a little bit to make sure it really is hitting the tape. But then your LED should light up. You notice that it changes colors. This is a color changing LED. Hopefully it's not too bright in here and you can see that. So, all right, step one, we know everything is working. Now we can get into the crafting and sewing part. All right, so now they're cut out, which is good. So then so once they're cut out, you decide what color you want for what. So you can do whatever you like, but these two should be one color and these two should be the opposite color. And, but if you have another idea, you can try it out. This project is created by Natasha Zerny, so not by me. So I'm just following her instructions, but you can, you know, if you have a different idea in mind, you can try it out. So you're gonna grab your Sharpie, you're going to trace it out and then cut it out, okay? Here we go. If you want, there's, you know, a decent amount of felt, so if you want to try to keep it kind of, you know, use as little felt as possible, so trace them next to each other. So then if you want to try it again or do a different project with felt and the sewing, you can do that as well. So that's up to you. Okay, so you can see we have them traced. We're about to cut them out. And then if you want, I would try to kind of mark where they suggest you, because we're going to sew these down. So you can make a little marking of about where it is. If you want to put like holes in this before you do it so that you can mark it, you can do that. I'm just trying to eyeball it. So it's going to be about in the middle anyway, but it's nice to have that, and then we can do it for this one as well. So this is the switch, so you don't actually have to worry about that. This is where the LED light is going to go, so that you're going to want to mark off. So about there for the LED light. Okay, now we're going to cut these out. Now we're not cutting these out, right? These are just guides of where we're going to sew down our pieces, so don't cut those. Okay, now this hole we do want to cut out because this is what we're going to put the LED light through. So what I do is I kind of try to find the middle of that, make a snip, and then kind of cut around it a little bit. It's better to be smaller because the felt will stretch out a little bit than to make it too big. So make it a little small and then boom, pops right over like that. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing with the LED light. So now we're going to start sewing, and the first thread that we're going to use is sort of like your regular sewing thread, okay? So grab your needle and if you can thread it without using the needle threader, then go for it. I cannot. As you can see, I have kind of long nails, so I need a little help. So if you're like me and you need the needle threader, you put the, oops, I can't even do that. Okay, so you put that in there, right? And then we're going to put our thread through this hole, which is a lot bigger. So you put your needle threader through the hole, and then you put your thread through, I know my nails are very long, so this is a little bit hard to see, through that, which is a lot bigger, and then you pull, and then it pulls the thread through, right? So that's a little bit easier. Some people are very good. It's easy for them to just, and this thread is a little bit thinner, so this is a little bit easier to get through without using that. The embroidery thread and the conductive thread might be a little bit harder. Okay, so there we go. We've got our thread on. Now, how you choose to sew this on is up to you, really. I'm not a expert sewer. If you know someone in your house that that knows how to sew, maybe they sew buttons on, or maybe you learned it in school, then by all means use whatever technique you know how to use. The main thing is getting them sewed down so they're pretty sturdy so that they're not going to come off. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to sew down our battery holder, and we're going to sew down these two corners and this middle one, okay? So again, if you have your own sewing technique, you can use whatever you want. I'm just gonna do it this way. Oops. Go up, down, and then come back up underneath, doop, and down. Back up underneath. So you can kind of poke it through, see if it's there. Down. Back up. There you go. You want them to be tacked down pretty good, so, you know, do it a few times, or if you know a strong way to do it, then you can go ahead and do that. Like I said, I'm still learning how to sew myself, so. And then when you're ready to finish it, to like tie it off, this is what I do. I don't know if it's right. If you know if it's the right way to do it, then by all means do that way. But I go like that, and then I like swoop it back. So you're gonna, when you do that, don't pull it all the way. It like makes a loop. So you're gonna put it back through that loop and then pull it. And I do that a couple of times just to make sure it's nice and in there. Ooh. Again, I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it, so if you know someone, or if you know obviously the right way to do it, then by all means do it that way. Okay, do that, and then we'll okay, and then like I said, we're gonna do this corner and then this. So this corner and then this to get it totally tacked down. And you're gonna try to want to do it in the middle as much as possible. Obviously mine's like off-centered a little bit, so that's okay, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so now we have this one tacked down, and then we're going to tack down our LED light over here. We're going to do one white and one black, so these opposites, you're gonna do those two. You're gonna sew just like you did here, you're gonna do it there, okay? Okay, so now we are going to do the same thing with the LED light. I will show you again how to thread the needle. So we're putting this in this part, like that. Then we're taking our thread, putting that through the big part. Should be a lot easier than putting it through the small part. In theory, there we go. Gonna hold on to it. Then we're gonna pull it through, just like that. And then I like to go like this. A good amount on there. Cut it off. And then we take our needle and we're gonna go here and here. So this one and this one. And we're gonna, again, try to keep it in the same spot. Try to keep it in the middle as much as you can. Oops. Okay. Go down first, and then up, down, up. And then as you're tacking it down, you can move it around if you need to. Be careful when you're going through. Don't catch your fingers. It is a needle, it is sharp. Okay. All right, that looks good. And now I'm gonna do it this way so you can see. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back here like this. So we're not gonna come back up through, right? We're just gonna go under. And then we have this hole, and we're gonna swoop it and then pull it in. So that's how we're gonna close it off. We're gonna go like that. I do it a couple times. Kind of, whoops, go like that. We have the hole, go like that, pull it through. All right, so that should be tacked down pretty good. And then we'll cut it. So we did this corner, now we're gonna do that corner. We're gonna loop it through this hole and then pull it down. Again, go like that. Loop, pull it. You could do it 3 times or good luck, like that. Loop it, pull it. And then you can cut these tack down and we're going to, just like we did with the conductive tape, now we're going to use the conductive thread to sew between our points. So if you remember, we had our tape like this, right? We did the black to the orange, and then we're gonna go white to the white. So we're gonna sew it, we're gonna start the same way where we like kind of tack it down a little, and then we're gonna sew a running stitch to it and then tack it down again. It's important to really make sure this conductive thread is touching that gold. You'll see it clearer on your pieces, but we really want to make sure the thread is touching and very tightly touching the conduction points to make sure that it actually, you know, conducts. All right, so we're going to thread our needle, same way we did before. This thread is bigger than, like thicker than the other thread we just used, so you might want to use your little needle threader this time. All right, there we go. And you should have plenty of thread to do this project. Probably, you know, you can do several projects with the amount of thread that we have. So I would take a good amount. Because like I said, we are going to want to make sure that it is tightly woven, tightly against the conduction points. All right, so I'm going to come up again like we did last time, pull it through, go back down. Whoop, whoop. All right, there we go. Come back up, and now when you come back up, like try to get as close as you can to the thread and to that gold part. Okay, and then go back down. Come back up. Get them nice and tight. Go back down. All right, let's do one more. Close as we can. All right, and then like that. And now we're going to do a running stitch down to this point. So let's start back here. These can be pretty far apart from one another. So you're gonna go like down there and then down this way. Like that, right? So we just have to get to, and you can make them, you know, if you want to use more thread and make them like shorter, and like that's up to you how do you want to do it. But now we're here and we're going to go to this spot, and same thing, we're going to go down and try to get as close as possible to the edge. Keep it nice and tight. There we go. Okay, and then back here, we're gonna tie it off just like we did before. So we're gonna go kind of under our stitches, like that, pull it through that circle, and tighten it up. We'll do it again, like that. Pull it through our circle, that, nice and tight. Yeah, we'll do it one more time, we have enough left. through and pull. All right. And then we can cut off. I wouldn't cut too close. I would leave a little bit. Okay, so now we have the black to that, and then we're gonna do this white one, and we're gonna come around to there. And just like the tape, we do want to make sure that these don't touch. So that's where, if you have the clear nail polish, that's where that might come in. You can kind of like nail polish the ends down so they stay away from each other. Okay, so now we have everything tacked down with regular thread. We have the conductive thread going from our black to our orange, our white down to our white. And if we did this all correctly, we put our battery in, and there we have it. It lights up. That is the big goal of this project, I would say, is to make sure that connection works, and it does. Now the rest of the project is really about the sewing and, you know, about making it look nice. So you're gonna embroider it. That's where our embroidery thread comes in, and you're going to sew it down. And this you can definitely do as you like, whatever you kind of want it to look like. So let's start here. We're gonna place our star over our LED like we did before. So we can actually take this out for now. So I did mention that we don't have the switch piece for this project. So instead of having the switch to turn it on and off, what you could do is pop out the battery and that will turn it off. So that's up to you if you do want to turn it off. If you want to conserve the battery a little bit, you can just pop the battery out and that will turn it off. That's an option. So we're going to do that, and then we are going to put this one behind it like that. Then we're going to take our keychain. So it will fit, it just might be a little bit of a difficult fit. There we go. All right, so we have our star, our keychain, and then this gets folded up behind that, right? So here's our keychain and here's our star. So now we can just flatten it out a bit. A little bit straighter. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then this is showing on the back end, so that's why you can pop the battery in and out, because this is how it's going to be placed. And then, you know, you kind of futz around with it a little bit, and there. So now that we have everything kind of squished together, you're gonna see this is the end piece. This next part is creative, decorative, to your liking. So this purple star is going to get embroidered. So for example, I have a finished one here. So I embroidered this with the lines like that. You can do it however you like. And then, so that you're gonna do off, you can take the star off and do that. And then, so you go like this and you'll embroider that. Then this pieces, these 3 pieces that are left, you're going to use, you can still use the embroidery floss, so you could still have like the color and the contrastingness, but then you're going to sew them around just like they did here. So sew them all together like that. So then it's one piece, and then you're going to tack on that star like I did. I did it up here and in this corner. I just did 2 spots, but you can do it in multiple spots. You could do it however you like. Okay, so just like before, our needle is threaded with our embroidery floss. This time, you know, I would definitely use, have a really decent line going, because you're gonna wanna, depending on what you want the, you know, the embroidery to like look like. It's up to you. But I would make sure to have plenty. This one, you can, it's a little bit easier to make a substantial knot. So we might want to knot the end. As well. Okay. So then again, I start at the back, start wherever you like. Again, this is all decorative, right? This has nothing to do, you know, with doing it right per se. It's just about, you know, decoration, how you want it to look. So you can have fun with this however you like. And again, if you do have clear nail polish at home, you know, you could kind of nail polish those down to make them stay so they don't come out the sides. So now we have that done with your embroider, however you would like to have that done. And then we are going to sew up the sides. So we can start inside. And then go through the next one. You're gonna want to make sure you get through all of the layers. Right, so you go pull it through, then you go to the other side. Right, so we're sewing like kind of like a sandwich. And you can make them a little bit bigger as you go along. Would you kind of get the hang of it? It's important to make sure that you catch all the layers, because they're not exactly on top of each other, so you might like go through these top two and miss the one in the middle, so you try to make sure you get all three of them. Like that. Oh, see, like I missed, it's like very on the edge. And you can scooch it around as you go. Right, and then you're just gonna go all the way around like that, and then you'll finish up here and tie it off. And then you'll put this back on. And wherever you want, you'll just tack it on the corner like I did here. Right, you just tack it. I went around the whole thing, so I just tacked it on there, and then I kind of went underneath up. And then again, when you're all done doing the embroidery, you pop your battery back in, and there you go. And then you can hang it on your backpack or wherever you'd like. All right, I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned some new sewing skills, some circuitry stuff, and if you have any questions, let us know. Thanks, bye.